Stumpage, the volume of standing tree timber in a forest before it harvested, and indicate what a buyer can pay for tree still in the forest. Okay, stumpage is cost to market price, logging and transport. Okay, cost. Okay, and the market price thing, the selling price of timber or forest products in the market influence how much stumpage, stumpage, stumpage can be changed, and depend on local and national timber market, and logging and transport costs. Cost in incurred costs incurred to fill, process and transport timber from forest to market must be subtracted from market price to calculate stumpage. And demand, look at this demand. Demand forest product, the quantity of forest product, timber, firewood and tapir required by people, industry and others, driven by population growth, industrial use and available of alternatives. Supply forest product, the quantity of forest product available in for harvest, affected by forest productivity, accessibility, legal regulation and management practice. त्यसपछि प्राइस चाहिँ price forest product determined by the interaction of demand and supplies, market access and timber quality, and higher demand with limited supply, higher price, and low quality or poor access भने low price. Some more important questions under the silviculture classification of forest organization of forest are subjected to the same silviculture system and same working set of working plan. सेम सिल्भिकल्चर सिस्टम छ र सेम सेट अफ वर्किङ प्लान छ भनेपछि प्रिस्क्राइब वर्किङ सर्कल हुन्छ. A telling area usually one of an annual series in a clear filling system is a cubes, and in a filling series of cheer pine forest work under regular shelter root systems with its rotation period of 100 years and regeneration period of 25 years. Yes, obviously there would be four number of periodic blocks. What would be possible is uh, gradation range in second period at the end of the rotation of forest group containing many theoretical all ages classes in a selection classes, and classes should better be managed under selection systems. And selection system, in a selection system, if the filling cycle is increased to rotation period, the system would approach the following: clear filling, and in copies with the standard system the yield of the copse is regulated by area, and the statement that the annual or periodic harvest of forest products should not excess the annual or periodic growth of it is the principle of sustained yield. And त्यसपछि the series of tree of all age classes to enable the removal of the oldest is known as complete series of age gradations. In a irregular selection forest, the criteria for filling is exploitable size, rotation, the rotation designed for eucalyptus species for the output of electrical transmission poles purpose is technical rotation, the rotation containing with edge at which MAI culminate is rotation of maximum the rotation which gives the highest net returns on capital value is financial. What will be the soil expectation value of a forest land if the continual net net income of 1,20,000 annual and the give interest rate 9% भने 13 lakh of forest which correspond in every way to the object of management is normal forest. The normality concept is in the case of selection forest is better understood in terms of balanced portion of all age and sizes. The fact that the percentage reduction in stems number from old diameter class to the next in geometrical progression and constant is known to be de-Likert law. The term increment in forest management is usually volume increment. Volume increment and the periodic increment divided by the period is taken as CI and an average annual rate of growth up to rotation age is MI. The crop age at which the CI of the crop culminate and being to decline, the MI still continue to rise. Let's the volume of a crop at the age of 60s air be 100 meter and 100 cubic and 110-year age the same being 70 cubic and 5 year ago thinning yield 10 cubic meter, the increment percent will be 4.44 and a fast growing species is one who yield a minimum of 10 cubic meter per hectare per annum है त फास्ट ग्रोथले चाहिँ यति दिनु पर्यो 10 र how the amount of increment of the even age stand is affected by regular periodic thinning is almost unaffected. The most accurate method of determination of crop increment by calculating the periodic mean increment and for a normal forest which has MI at rotation is from yield table is 500 cubic feet and the area of the filling series being 40 hectares. What will be the annual yield is 20,000 okay CFT. What will be the average increment of an abnormal forest for a period of 10 years when the final growing stock is 5,000 CFT and initial is the 3500 CFT and the recruitment for the period is 150 CFT while the material removed in thinning is 250 CFT अर्थात 160. The local occurrence or proportionate representation of different air classes in a forest is S-class distributions. The unit of yield regulation in both regular and irregular forest is filling series. What will be the normal growing stocks of a filling series whose rotation is 20 years and the total MAI of the filling series is 500 CFT. What will be the average normal growing stock per hectare in case where the area of filling series is 50 hectare, rotation being 20 years and total MAI of the series being 500 CFT हैन per hectare. So what is the formula for the calculating normal growing stock at the mid season of yield table method? If the yield table interval is being represented by an and MNOP be the volume given in the yield table, and MNOP by 2, and the relationship between normal growing stock calculated by yield table and using MAI is normal growing stocks form MAI is greater. The period between seedling filling and final filling under shelter root system is regeneration interval. Um, Using Fisher formula of normal growing stock determined under uniform systems. What will be the normal value for the determination system? What will be the normal growing stock for a forest containing RC cubic meter per hectare at 100 year and regeneration period of 25 years? 80% of volume removed, the density reduced to 0.2 cubic meter per hectare per annum is 192. For the determination of normal growing stock of forest under selection system, a normal evolved by Munger USA is mainly based on CI. Mm, residual residual growing stock is a term denote used to denote the growing stock below the exploitable diameter left standing under a filling cycle. This parameter is used to determine normal growing stocks by following formula, Munger formula. त्यसपछि गएर चाहिँ the rotation of normal yield to normal growing stock expressed in percentage is utilization ratio. What will be the reduced or equiproductive area for a stocking of 0.80, and consider the fully stocks area as bisector and bisect 25 hectare. The reduced area in connection with yield regulation method is mean for area of equal yield production by density and quality. Possibility is a term can be used in forest management synonymously with estimating the productive capacity of an area. Estimating the productive area of an area. All material from the thinning and operation prescribed the final filling is subsidiary crops. The yield is usually regulated for the period of the working plan. The basis for the volumetric formula of yield regulation is volume, and त्यसपछि गएर the the formula for annual yield is shelter root system is y is equals to b by p plus I by 2. The method of yield regulation by volume under periodic block was evolved by Harting. The method of yield regulation in which there is no predetermined limit is the site of the periodic block is formed. Neither the length of the period is floating periodic block, and what would be the annual yield if the actual volume of the growing stock is 2000 cubic meter and rotation of the crop is 80 years 50 cubic meter? Which of the following formula is also known to be the formula of glorious simplicity is Bellman formula? Which of the following modification of Bellman formula for yield regulation is applicable to all fractional enumeration of growing stock down to girth or diameter equivalent to 1 by nth of rotation? Simon modification. The formula of yield determination, which is based on the relationships of actual growing stocks and normal growing stocks. The yield is determined for a period known to be equalizations period is Australian method. And the formula of yield regulation which use the utilization factor which determining the annual yield is Honda-Second formula. And the formula, the following rate of the the following ratio of volume of old crop to medium crop is considered for normal forest is quarter blue method 5 is to 3. When the national forest plan was prepared in Nepal is 1976, and which will be the annual yield in an irregular forest when calculated by increment method, given that the percentage volume below 8000 cubic meter volume 10 year ago was 60 65 cubic meter and volume removed during the period is 300 cubic meter in centimeter 180. The method of yield regulation in irregular forest, which is based on the promised that only the annual increment is to be removed from the oldest diameter classes, as the yield is Swiss method, a method of yield regulation which endeavor to lead a crop particularly irregular to highest production by silviculture and increment combine is check method. The method of yield regulation which is based on the promised that correct harvesting can be a tools of improved timber production, and also all filling must be cultural operation is Bailey method. And can see in which of the following method of yield regulation every time the filling is connected they are to check whether the composition has to be changed and the growing stock to be maintained to have a site of maximum productivity. Boyle method, Boyle in his check method of yield regulation consider the following ratio of volume of smalls, medium and old case, and ideal distribution is 20-30-50. The method of yield regulation by volume based on the tree or unit is Brandeis method. The method of yield regulation, okay, we can see the method of yield regulation based on the number of tree in various diameter girth and and the time taken passes from the one to the next. And the method, okay, and the method suitable the method suitable for extensive tropical forest when only one or two species are sellable and where selection filling are the rule is Brandeis method. And in which of the method of yield regulation the average number of tree reaching exploitable size annually plus a fraction of surplus no of 3 of over exploitable size if any is Brandeis diameter class method. In the irregular forest silviculture requirement do not permit of restriction that tree of a particular size only may be filled, and is a highlighted shortcoming of the following yield regulation method is Brandeis method. The method of yield regulation based on the concept of selection yield Smith safeguarding formula. Which of the forest management method can take the advantage of advantage of advantage of advantage of new techniques in the field of silviculture is progressive yield management. The rotation in which time value of money is considered is rotation of time is financial. And among the three major characteristics of normal forest, this of the following is achievable if remaining two condition is field is normality is in growing stock. The yield regulation method suitable for the Torai plantation such as Saganath plantation areas by method, and or temporary measure to indicate the maximum permissible annual filling in a mature crops whose rotation is the only known data at present can be determined by mass Mason formula. And Australian assessment formula for yield calculation is y is equals to I plus va minus bn by r. French method of yield calculation is based on diameter classes. The kind of rotation prescribed for the determination prone and erosive site is physical. And in the life of a growing forest crops, the curve for Ci and Mi intersect once, expect except for the first year when the MI is stationary. Increment percent is used in forest management to determine its rotation. And the method of yield regulation by gross or increase area method is relatively difficult for irregular shelter root systems. And the estimated gross annual increment per hectare for a conifer Nepal is 2.8 cubic meters. And we can see estimated okay estimated the estimated gross annual increment per hectares for broadleaf species in Nepal is 2.4 cubic meter. The district of Nepal containing highest growing stock is मोरङमा छ है त सबैभन्दा बढी हाइएस्ट ग्रोइङ स्टक. द डेभलपमेन्ट रिजन which has the lowest growing stock is Midwest Development Region. Which of the rotation you will prescribe for the roadside plantation of newly under constructing BP highway में physical. And the rotation yield prescribed for डलवर्गीय शिशु नेपाल is 35 वर्ष. According to the different operational forest management plan in Nepal, which one is the shortest rotation crop is Cassia Saima 4 वर्ष अघि. In 1942 with the advice of Smith, a working schemes for Nepal's forest was prepared. What was the main recommendation of the schemes is selection कम इम्प्रुभमेन्ट. त्यसपछि फिलिङ इम्प्रुभमेन्ट फिलिङ. अब फेरि अरू छ वाट द नम्बर अफ स्टिम्स पर हेक्टर विच इज रिकमेन्डेड फर रिटेन्सन इन सिडलिङ फिलिङ बाई अपरेसनल फरेस्ट म्यानेजमेन्ट प्लान फर साल फरेस्ट अफ नेपाल इज 130 देखि 150 राख्नु पर्यो है त पर हेक्टर. त्यस 130 देखि 150. द एलुएबल कड एसेसमेन्ट इन नेपाल इज प्राइमरली recommended for production forest. Let the area of production forest is 38-18 hectare and rotation of the forest at 75 year. What will be the annual regeneration area is 51 number. Shrubland of Nepal can be broadly be classified degraded and full stocks. What is the crop density margin for these two ranges? 50%. The difference between timber stand improvement and shrubland management is objectives. The objective of shrubland management in Nepal should mainly focus on fuel wood and fodder supply. त्यसपछि गएर which could be a tentative figure of number of useful steam per hectares for a oil stock shrub land of Nepal is 20,000. What will be the suitable option for the management of the fully stocked shrubland of Nepal if there is no defect of further and fuel is developed as timber stand, and if a under stocked shrubland of Nepal has more than 100,000 useful steam per hectare but less than 2500, the following treatment could be suggested: enrichment planting, the selective thinning for fuel wood as a management prescription of oil stocks shrubland of Nepal should be undertaken 5 year. At least how many number of stems per hectare is suggested to be retained after thinning or other harvesting operation in a fully stocked shrubland of Nepal is 10,000. And we can see, for the purpose of enumeration of the stocking of shrubland, whose crop density is 5,000 stems per hectare, the following type of pole plot is estimated: square. The hill salt forest of the nation constitute following part of the total forest area is 39%. When was the MPFS endorsed in Nepal is 1988. The vision for the 10 national workshops on community forest 1998 was property elevation in community forestry, a theory of common property regimes that the cumulative effect of individual action to maximize their personal benefit cause the over exploitation of common resources is poorly known by its name, tragedy of commons. And you can see corona temi malika. The vertical distance from the tree tip to the point halfway between green crown foliage and around and lowest green branches is crown length. The vertical distance from the tree base to the point half between lowest green branches and all the around crown filling is crown height. Height measurement is more time consuming than diameter measurement. How many time more than consuming 10 times height measurement. And shadow method is one of the non-instrumental method. Height measurement, height of tree is tree pole is 6 feet, tree shadow is equals to 50 feet, and pole shadow is equals to 10 feet is 30 feet. And basic principle behind shadow method: principle of similar triangle. Shadow method: pole height, if tree height is equals to 15 meter, tree shadow is equals to 25 meter, pole shadow is equals to 5 meter. 3 feet. Height of tree on level ground, distance from observe 22 meter, angle subtended 45 डिग्री 23.5 मिटर. क्रिस्चियन हिप्सोमिटर लिमिट height exceeding 30 meter. Height measurement of a leaning tree towards observer is overestimated. One of the interval into which the range of tree height is divided for classification and uses height classes. And decrease in diameter of stem is taper, and the rate of taper of a tree stem is formed. According to merger theory, the stems must have the same cubic paraboloid, and form factor basically is form ratio. And the ratio of volume of a tree and cylinder of same diameter is form factors. Breast height from forest factor is exchangeable with artificial form factor. Forest factor, in which basal area is measured at breast height, and volume referred to where tree is artificial form factor. When basal area is measured at any convenient height, and volume referred only to measure part volume measurement form factor is absolute form factor. The product of total height of a tree and form factor is form height. Form height, the forest, the form height is used in determine of the productive proportionality of basal area to the tree volume. Who define first the term form quotient is ए सिफलले डिफाइन गरे फर्म क्वेसनलाई. द रेसियो अफ मिड डायमिटर टु मिड हाइट नर्मल फर्म क्वेसन. द रेसियो अफ मिड डायमिटर एन्ड एबभ ब्रेस्ट हाइट एन्ड टिपिएस एब्सोल्युट. वान अफ द following in which the range of the form quotient of tree is divided for classification and uses form classes. The point in the crown of a tree at which wind pressure is estimated to have its center is form point. The ratio in percentage of form point to total height of a tree is form point ratio. The Smalian formula for calculation log volume is based on the volume of following geometric figures: paraboloid, and prismoidal formula for calculation of log volume is based on the volume of niloid. And which of the following formula of calculating log volume is the most accurate is Newton's, and which formula of calculation of log volume is most cumbersome to apply is Newton's. The best suitable formula for calculating volume of stock log is Smalian. Quarter girth formula for calculating log volume is underestimated the tree volume. The shortage of volume in log by quarter girth formula is 20%. The percentage of the net square timber from a log is estimated is 64%. Built is term used to denotes small piece of firewood. The standard size of the stake firewood chatta is in common practice in Nepal is होइन 20x5x5 500. In Western country, the term cord is often used to express the volume of stock wood. Size of a cord in USA is 484. The volume table average is best applicable for group of tree of a particular locality. Volume table, which gives volume in round down to various stand thin end diameter, is assortment table. Tree quality are expressed in the term of height of individual tree with respect to DBS. Tariff table are volume table based on GBS alone. GBS by the volume table, GBS बाट tariff table. The portion of the stems which is unmarketable is known as cool
What is the standard moisture content of wood in percentage when the air dry condition is 12? um, Fiber saturation point for a wood is a state of the wood when all free water is evaporated. And you can see exact definition of biomass is weight of the above ground vegetatives matter produced per unit area. The determination of the age of tree is important for rate of growth, and the radial growth in a tree is about by division and enlargement of secondary merismatics. If the mean annual increment for a tree is calculated for a portion of the total age is pi, final mean annual increment is MAI at rotation age. The CI and MAI curve for a tree coincide throughout the lives of the tree only for twice, and when at what age there will be the maximum production for a from a tree when the MAI is maximum. And the concept of increment percent of tree seem as an expression for okay the following type of stakeholder is businessman. And the increment percent figure is a relation between capital and increment at a given time. The most prominent and important object of the stem analysis is to fit out age diameter relationships. For the purpose of stem analysis, the candidate stems should be selected from stem of rotation size and over class of tree. What is the best way to determine increment in tree without annual ring is to determine it by periodic measurement. Crop diameter is the diameter of a tree corresponding to mean basal area. And we can see one of the following forest crops parameters is based on square of diameter crop diameter. The relationship of the diameter of for a forest crop obtained for mean basal area and diameter obtained by the direct average of diameter is former is always bigger. The diameter of following type also used to assess the site quality is top diameter. Top diameter is term generally applicable to uniform and pure. Lorry formula is used to determine crop height. One of the following parameter is determined by height diameter curve down drawn from data collected on a large number of tree of different diameter classes is mean height. What are the number of tree per hectare is supposed to be sufficient for determination of top height of a forest is चाहिँ crop is 250. The term even is yellow difference in term of percentage of rotation age is cause where a crop is not harvested for 100 years or more than 25% of forest crop is said to be uneven age if the difference of age is individual tree is of 20 years. Crop age is the age of regular crop corresponding to its crop diameter. Pressler formula for increment percent used to simple interest rate. Under uniform system, the term crop age referred to age of trees of mean diameter classes. Point out the number of sample plot required for a forest sampling in which sampling intensity is 0.5%. Area of forest strata is 100 hectare and plot site design is 20 into 15 होइन 25 र 20 को स्क्वायर मिटर इज टू 10. What will be the plot to plot distance in community forestry where the sample plot is representing an area 31,250 square meter is 178 meter. The width of the relapscope's fork is 1.4 centimeter, and the distance from the eye to the relapscope is 50 centimeter. Relapscope factor is 2. And what will be the relapscope factor if the basal area is given is 20 square meter for an individual, and number of tailed tree is 100 is 2. The whole quality multiplier for volume calculation of first bole quality classes is prescribed in the community forest inventory guideline is 2/3. The standard form factor prescribed in the community forestry guideline is 0.5. And classifications of the community forestry into condition classes based on growing stocks has been done in community forestry inventory guidelines. What is the level of stock that is sufficient to keep a forest into the best classes over is 7,000 CFT per hectare. The estimated mean annual increment for the forest of a moderately fast growing species is 3. The maximum percentage of mean annual increment of a good condition forest that can be drawn as annual allowable harvest as prescribed by community forestry inventory guideline is 75%. The sample plot size interval for the NTIP inventory is prescribed in the community forestry guideline is 10 देखि 100. The eucalyptus produced for the production of electricity in Saganath. The rotation adopted for such a condition could be of following type is economic rotation. And you can see the rotation, you can see the reduce the percentage of error in height due to error in the age, the observed should stand is should such a distance that angle is subtending should be 45 degree. The number of principles that has been formulated for the sustainable forest management by Forest Stewardship Council is 10%. And forest mensuration, we can see forest mensuration